Okay, do it again. Now we're not muted. All right, Alderman Ryan, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, pardon my French. Okay, so we're good for him.
Alderman, sorry. Commissioner Richardson and Robinson are not present?
Correct.
Okay. We have a call. Commissioners. And anyone read the minutes for the August 25th meeting, and if so, do you have a motion? Okay, moving to take a look at the agenda. Does anybody need to recuse themselves from the consideration of any of these four items?
Yes, I need to recuse myself from preliminary review of item number A, or letter A.
Anybody else? Any reasons? Okay. The order is fine. First line, this will be our agenda. Begin with preliminary reviews, agenda item A, please.
Okay, before we start, a couple of announcements. Really quick, can somebody on the Zoom verify you can see the preservation board meeting slides, please?
We can see it.
Awesome, thank you, sir. Okay, if you wish to speak on a certain item, please send a chat with your name and the item you want to speak on to the tile that says, Miss Jackson. She's our admin. So if you want to speak on a certain item, send a chat to Miss Jackson with your name and the item you wish to speak on. Okay, so I will begin. Okay, first up, this one's pretty straightforward. This was the preliminary review to construct 3 new single-family houses at 3005, 07, and 09 Missouri. It's in the Benton Park Local Historic District. This kind of infamous site for us, and I wanted to just show you really quick. If you look at the picture, and you probably see stuff in the agenda, we always hold up this item as a reason why we require applicants to pull building permits for all multiple building projects. This one went through a long time ago, and you can see we've had this wall of vinyl for many years because it was a staged project. So this is what we always point to, like, this is why we require applicants to do multiple permits at the same time when they're doing multiple buildings. So we avoid things like this in the future. Doesn't mean it's 100%, foolproof, but it's one thing we work on. Anyway, as an aside. So it's located near the southwest corner of Missouri and Crittenden. These are the sites. Here's some street level context. The site obviously is on the right and the empty lots. And this is looking north. Yeah, on the left hand side are the sites in question. This is the submitted site plan. The front facades are the only public facades on the project. Everything else will be private facades based on the spacings between the buildings. The furthest north, that is still a private facade based on the distance to the existing building. So these are all standard brick front buildings. The brick will return the distance to the neighboring property on all of the sides of the building. And this is the streetscape showing the buildings. As you see, standard 3-bay brick. As I noted in the staff report, we approved this design several times in the past. So even though there was not a specific model example submitted for this, since the board has approved this in the past, we think it's appropriate, and it meets kind of that threshold for design that, is an example of the past. But as you can see, the fenestration all lines up, solid void is appropriate. Material wise, it meets everything. We think overall it's a good design. And what you're seeing here actually should know these are tweaked designs that were sent in after we prepared the agenda. So these are actually updated designs that incorporated comments from the Benton Park neighborhood who supports the application. So these are seeing the updated designs. Here is the proposed front elevation, and just to show you that we don't have a model example, this kind of massing, in terms of this, how it's fenestration construction and layout, it's very typical and not unusual at all. These are two that we've approved in the past that went to the board, again, same kind of design. I think actually this later one looks better than these in terms of like how the first floor windows and doors are arranged, but. The side elevations will be a 4-inch siding, which is allowed by the standards, the private sides. And again, this is the site. So staff recommends that the board grant preliminary approval. In addition, that final plans, colors, and materials be approved by the CRO. Questions for me?
I have a question, Bob. So, the distance here is how far you're going back on this last one,
Yes,
and you're gonna check that?
Yes.
And, as you can see in the photograph there, the roof steps back, so we're gonna see siding if you follow that rule. So I would propose that we take it all the way back to the ridge of the neighboring house, the brick. Or we're gonna be looking at siding,
oh, so probably we'll say 50, yeah, by 20-ish feet, maybe.
whatever it is, This,
Yeah, it almost looks like a mansard roof, and then this elevation, it really is a side gable.
yeah. So
That's what you're saying.
Triangle would be exposed.
Right, that's what you're saying.
Further questions for Bob?
Any idea what's gonna happen with that curb cut?
It's gonna go away, it looks like, it's not on the plans anymore, so I assume it'll go away, you can ask the developers here, who should speak about that. It's gonna go away.
You're gonna fill it in? With the sidewalk and the tree line back with the curb? Cool.
Anybody in the waiting room?
I don't have anybody to speak, Jade, maybe you? Nobody on the side?
Question to the developer, commissioners? Come on up. Please. Just in case there are questions, we'll catch your answers, possibly
Possibly.
on the sound system. Questions, commissioners? Okay, thank you. Okay. Ruth, you want to make this your first motion?
Oh. I make a motion to accept the design as.
So what we recommend is,
I recommend the change that, Michael. Thank you, about the brick, the additional brick on the side elevation. I recommend, the curb cut being removed and sidewalk and the grass being placed back, and the developer has agreed to that, so I make a motion that we accept the plan with those changes.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Historically, we vote down first motion, which is, that is not true. Any discussion?
That's a cheat sheet.
Oh, she.
yeah, cheat sheet.
Thank you, I don't see that far away, that's why I was looking.
Who said that?
I think your motion's clear.
But she wanted to add a little caveat at the end about plans and details.
Perfect.
I make a motion that the Preservation Board grant preliminary approval to the proposed designs as they comply with the Benton Park standards for new construction, with the condition that final plans, colors, and materials are approved by the Cultural Resources Office, and the changes that the board has suggested come into play. Thank you.
Second.
Motion made. Seconded, clarified, remade, and seconded.
Question, since that was remade, but she didn't specify those two changes, do those need to be specified?
We have.
You got it.
It's okay, it's on the record, but for.
No, I'm just,
The hazing has begun.
Okay. Barbara, roll, please.
Ruth Kenoy,
Yes.
Mike Colleen,
yes.
Kevin Hamaker,
Yes.
Anthony Robinson,
Yes.
Alderman Ryan,
Yes.
Rich Kelly,
Yes.
Stanley Fowler abstains. Recused, that's it. Ayes have it.
Okay.
Great.
Motion carries. Congratulations, Ruth.
Thank you for your help.
Agenda item B. Thus, this is an appeal of a director's denial. Both the appellant and staff to help us build a record by introducing material into it and to affirm or swear that their testimony is the truth. And I would like to. Let's see.
I'm Jan Cameron from Cultural Resources Office, and I promise to tell the truth. I would like to enter into the record at this point ordinance 57078, the Soulard Historic District Ordinance. The agenda that you have before you. My presentation, the PowerPoint that you're about to see, and also a letter from the Soulard Historic. Sorry, let me get this right. The Preservation Zoning and Committee, Historic Code and Zoning Committee of the Soulard Restoration Group. Okay, has listed a somewhat in support letter, and with certain conditions. And you have all received, should have received that this morning digitally. If not, I have a copy of it here.
I do not.
I did get it today.
Did you get it or you didn't?
We
You
did,
did?
yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Okay, and
We get it. It's on your desk, actually.
it's right here.
I'll pass it around if you have to see it. Yeah.
Let's see it. Which one did you get?
This is the project. It's at 1041 Shenandoah Avenue. And the proposal is to construct a street entry garage port. This is not the same one that those of you who were at the last meeting saw. That one is still being deferred, pending consultation with the neighborhood. But this is the proposal. It'll be, you can see there's an existing curb cut, an apron, and that will be the location of the carport. Garage port, I should say. This is the site plan. This is the residence does not have access to an alley. So there's no way that they can get a garage in there unless it enters from the street. And this is the proposed site plan. The house is the large square on the right and the carport on the left. That's a little better view of the house. Now, they have met, the contractor has met with the Soulard Group and has sent new plans recently that have agreed to some of the conditions that the Soulard people asked for. One of them being that there be a cornice on the front. And that's what, this is a revised drawing from the one that you would have seen in your agenda. And it's also, this is also a revision in that the brick extends longer. This is the east, I'm sorry, the west elevation. No, it's the east elevation. And it is adjacent to the property to the east. So this will be somewhat visible. And the proposal currently is to bring the siding down very low so that it'll be screened by an existing privacy fence and it will look like a full garage from the street. But it is not, as the Soulard people requested, a full brick wall. This is the side that will be up against the building, and there will be a small brick return here so that it, again, will appear to be a fully brick garage. And just a couple of, this is the project site with the house and where all the green space is. So I think I'm into the applicant's presentation, but this is the alley and the house is on the left. Another shot from the street and the garage will be on the far left. Okay, so the applicant does have a presentation that we'd like to show you.
Before we get there, questions for Jan?
So yeah, this letter is for what we just saw up there.
Yes,
You mentioned there was a previous proposal.
The initial application had a brick front, but it did not have an elaborate cornice as it's showing, and the brick was not as extensive on the side. So,
Further questions, commissioners?
I just want to make sure, I read this in the report, but a while ago, 2015, this board approved the repeals, the curb cut at some point.
yes, they had a curb cut originally, that was approved by the board, but there was no structure on site.
Further questions? Okay, let's hear from the appellant.
The applicant present to speak?
Yes.
Okay. We'll advance the slides for you, sir. Just say when and I'll move the slide forward, okay?
Sure. Yes. My name is Scott Murphy. I'm the contractor for the job here. Also on Zoom is Alexa and Morgan Edwards. That'll speak as well. The first picture, we've seen this in Jan's presentation. Yes.
Sir, really quick, listen, a question for you.
Before you
Yes.
begin, is your testimony going to be the truth?
Yes.
And will you remember to introduce for the record any material you want us to consider?
Yes.
Okay, proceed.
Okay, you can switch slides there. This just shows what Jan has already stated, that it's the house is on the alley, so we can't meet code and put the carport garage port on the alley. The next slide is going to just show those street views again that Jan has presented. There is an existing 6-foot privacy fence there, both on 1041 and the neighbors on, I believe, 12th Street, that is. And I think that'll be the next slide. Next couple of slides will show the neighboring houses. You can kind of advance through those.
That's it.
Okay, these are, boy, it's been a while. These are the signed affidavits from the owners of those properties, affirming that they're for building this and then getting close to a property line. This was something that was required by zoning that we had done. And then the next slide there, these are the 11th Street. These are the folks that the front of their houses that back into the property of 1041 to the side of 1041. And then I believe there might be on the next one, again, showing that property and the proximity to the 1041 Shenandoah. Again, just a map pin for that. This was some of the pictures we've taken from the neighborhood showing existing garage ports with similar builds, all facing the street. This is what we used for the zoning meeting. This again just shows the property, and then the next pictures will be what we consider to be historic examples, just older buildings with their, just the flat front. This one is the one right across the street. This is that last one there. If you can go back, that one there, that is what this building would be proposed to look like. You can see the elevation of the garage in relation to the house. The parapet is going to, as close as possible, resemble the house. And then the last picture is just the skeleton view of the framework of the building. And then the brick and siding wall will be built up around that. in reading, I guess one of the statements, the height of the existing or the carport, garage port that is to be constructed, why is it tall? The first I'll speak to is the construction. They want to use a traditional shingled roof with a 32-foot deep building and a minimal 212 pitch to allow us to use a shingled roof. Makes that building a little bit taller in front, as you can see from this last picture. That'll be approximate scale to the house. And then also Alexa has some information on why the looks and openness and not fully walling that other side of that garage, if she would like to speak.
Ask if you're okay. Hi, my name's Alexa Edwards, and this is my daughter Morgan Edwards. Do you want to swear us in first?
Yes, is your testimony going to be the truth?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Proceed.
I'll speak first. We want this to look like it was built when the house was built. We don't want it to look like your typical garport or carport in the neighborhood. Obviously, because of the front of the house, we wanted it to look like a carriage house. And the garage door, the door that you see on there will not be the door that we will choose. It was just something that was put on there for a garage door. But we want a carriage look similar to like the one that's on the corner. Actually, we'd like to upgrade it a little bit more, look a little nicer than that one. But if that was what you'd prefer, that's fine too. So that way we stay in continuity in the neighborhood. But we definitely want it to look like a carriage house that was on the house from the original, and that it has a type of carriage door. The reason we prefer not to brick in the west side wall, first of all, is for safety, so that you can, when you're living in the home, you can look out and see what's the view of the house. Also, it's from the open air feel of the neighborhood, where if you're in the backyard, the neighbors, there's a lot of interaction between the neighbors talking to each other. And there's also a safety issue where everyone, if they're looking out of their windows, they can see anything going on in anybody's backyard, courtyard. And that gives a neighborhood a sense of connection, and it also gives it a sense of safety because your neighbors are watching you. So we would really appreciate and consider that you would consider reconsidering a full brick wall. Morgan can talk to you about what her and Jay Morris talked about, because he had brought that up when we originally started this almost 7 years ago of doing this project. And that was something that was brought up at that time. And Jay proposed some options so that there wouldn't have to be a full brick wall and still meet your codes and offer her privacy when she needed it. So I'll let her address that. Is there any other questions you have about the purpose of the front of the building? The reason that we wanted it higher also, that in case somebody would have a large SUV or a pickup truck, that there would be access into the garage and would not be limited by the height. But we also didn't want it look like it didn't fit. We were thinking that this is what we thought looked the most size appropriate for the height of the building and the surrounding buildings around it.
Is there any questions before? Okay. Yeah, so just to add on to, so when I had talked with Jay, is trying to meet with the historic code and honestly meeting with the historic aspects of the community. First, I wanted to make sure that there was no siding. So I wanted to ensure all brick. So what we had spoke of was we would take the brick on the side. So when you're driving down the street, because of where the fence sits, you would look like it's a full brick house, but also providing me with the security that should somebody potentially jump over that fence, that I would have that visibility and the safety of being able to enter into my house, not knowing what could be on that other side. The other thing that my mom, I'm not sure if you'd mentioned, but there's a window that's on the door. So we wanted to make sure it was raised up enough from that window. So when you're looking out, you don't look into a brick platform or, a carport. And then again, what we have been speaking with my neighbors is behind me. It provides my neighbors with security and privacy from the street. The other thing is that on the other side, what you have of me, there's both of them are rentals. So I can have on one rental anywhere between 10 to 20 people staying in one rental that have full visibility into my property. And that provides also so bringing that brick down to that point also provides protection for myself and protection for the next door. And I'm done.
So, Bob,
Yes, sir.
I've got just a few clarifications.
Sure.
Is it okay?
I don't know if their presentation is finished.
Oh, they're not finished. Okay, I thought they were taking questions. Sorry.
Yeah, they're finished, is it? You're finished, right, guys?
Wait,
Online?
So this,
before they finish, what would they like on the record?
So what do you want on the record officially then? What is your request, right?
The request would be to have the carriage house built at what we've just submitted to the committee. So what you're seeing with the higher garage door, the higher front, and then bringing the brick down to the visual site so that as you're driving down the road or walking, that it would appear to be a full carriage house, with the exception that it would be open below the visual.
And we use the sample, we use,
Excuse me.
go ahead.
What you would like to do then is to introduce your PowerPoint into the record.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
And
Thank you.
what we used was, there was a carport. Well, I wouldn't even call it a carport. It was a structure, and it had a rooftop on it, and it was open on the bottom. And when we saw that, that was our moment of like, oh, okay, now we know what we want to do. And I believe that was submitted in with the photos, and that was our role model that we saw, that we thought just really enhanced the building, the house, the usability, the friendliness of the neighborhood by having it all open. And that was our role model.
Perfect. Thank you. Mike?
okay, so how, and this might be a question for staff too, how will this brick wall that we're gonna see at the front be capped? In the rendering, it looked like it was a piece of metal. Is that true?
I think Mr. Edwards can probably address that, Mr. Edwards, the gentleman who's, Mr. Murphy, thank you. Mr. Murphy.
Yes, could you repeat the question? It was hard to.
Will there be a coping tile at the top of the parapet, both on the top of the parapet?
On top, but basically how it looks on the house, less the dormers. So they're going to replicate as close as possible what they have on the house.
Now, the question has to do with the cap. How are you gonna cap that? You putting a piece of metal up there or some plate?
Oh, cap on the top of the brick. Yes, I'm sure that's pretty well standard construction to cap that. Yes.
With what? I gave you two options there. Is it metal or coping tile?
If there's a preference over the other, we can, that's what we'll do.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, and I guess another question was the brick. Maybe I can stick to Mr. Edwards. The brick, will you be able to find in the rendering that brick doesn't look like it matches the house very well? You can find one a little closer.
Yeah, we don't want it to be mismatched. But we haven't gone too far because we're still waiting for your approval. Once we get your approval, then, when we'll make whatever requirements we have to make to find it, but this, we do not want this to look mismatched. That would ruin the effect of what we want to do.
All right, and then I'm concerned about your 212 pitch with shingles. I'm used to going 312 as a minimum, Mr. Edwards. If you got like a heavier shingle that'll hold up to 212.
Well, we were going to do it.
The Owens Corning True Def shingles are code acceptable for 212 pitch. We do it quite a bit.
Oh, you do?
And we don't want to
Okay.
go to a 312 because that would just make the whole thing higher. So yeah, we've got documentation showing that the 212 is acceptable with the True Def shingle.
Okay, and this is more of a question for staff. Was this based on an HME?
We did not have an HME submitted.
Okay, because I know this was done over by the Boys Club, just north of there. Is that sort of what we're basing it on?
It's that same kind of model,
That's
yeah,
the-
yeah, you know what we're referring to, yeah, it's just the north side along the park, right, it's the same concept, so, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions, commissioners?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. What are the dimensions actually of this? On a couple sheets, it looks like it's 30 feet long, some looks like it's 26. And I'll
The plans, hold on just a minute, let me bring the plans up. I'm pretty sure the plans call out for 32.
Those ones in there where it switches around. What are the?
So we get 30 there. All right, so my kind of follow-up is, how are you dealing with, the roof is pitched towards the north. How are you dealing with water? Is it downspouts and is that splashing in the yard next to the foundation? What's your
Yeah, I
plan
mean, yeah, the building department is going to require that there's downspouts, there are gutters along that low end with downspouts.
Okay, and the reason I'm asking that is right now, I'm assuming that driveway parking pad slopes out towards the street. So right now you're gonna, push that water to a point where it probably can't get out. I'm not familiar with the alley, so not really a request, but just make sure that you're not creating an issue
Oh,
for
for
the
sure,
house.
yes, right, correct.
There's a downspout on the front of the house, towards, so if you're looking at the picture with there's a downspout that goes on the front, and then there's also a downspout that we can use on the backside that we would go into.
Okay, just, that's fine. The picture on, well, actually right here, what are you doing with the sidewalk in front? Are you guys gonna landscape that? In one picture, it looks like it's paved over like the kind of tree lawn in front of your yard, in front of your house. What are you doing with that? I think it's slide 47.
Okay, right now, we're in front of the 50/50 sidewalk program, waiting to hear from them. We would like to put concrete in there with maybe an opening or two for some type of tree. I've called the city numerous times. There was a dead tree out in front that was between the alleyway and where the dirt is. And anyway, we wanted to cut the tree down because it was dead. And the city told me it was their tree and we could not cut it down. And I said, well, I'll pay to cut it down. And they said, no, it's our tree. You can't cut it down. We'll come and cut it down. So they finally came and cut it down. Then they left a tree stump. And I called again and said, can I pay to have the tree stump ground out and removed? They said, no. They would have somebody come and do it. Well, they did. In the meantime, they didn't do a very good job. So we've gone out there and I've hired people to come out there and clean up all the debris and everything. And then we were trying to do the carport and then came up about the 50/50 program. And every time I've called about what I can do out there, I've just been nobody's given me any answers or solutions. And I go, can I plant grass out there? I'm told one time it's okay. I'm told another time it's not okay. That belongs to the city. Anything that we do, they have to, they'll do it, or I have to have a permit to do it. Where do I get a permit? Well, we'll get back to you. So right now I applied for the 50/50, waiting for hear from that. We did talk to, I'm sorry, I'm just brain dead right now, a gentleman, and they were talking about doing some green space or streetscape out there, which we said we would be totally approve that also. But we haven't been given approval to do anything with every request that we've had.
Yeah, so what you're seeing right now was a proposal that we submitted in the 50/50 program. So as of right now, that open space that you see where there's dirt is what we're working with the city on.
Now, we did try putting mulch in there when she first moved in.
That I was gonna ask staff later what we approved before and make sure that we were, like, what the condition that is right now was what we approved in the past, but I think we're fine. No other question. I just wanted to know what was happening there. That's all.
Thank you.
Further questions from commissioners? Okay, does anybody in the waiting room?
Anybody in the waiting room? Okay, you want to speak?
Walker Hamilton, SRG. I do swear to tell the truth.
Proceed.
We don't generally support, our code does not support, this kind of build. But as a committee, the Historic Code and Zoning Committee, we do feel like there are instances, especially something like this, where we can make some accommodations for the homeowners. We feel like our conditions make those accommodations. If there's any questions, I can answer them.
Do you believe that the presentation you saw reflects the changes that you all wanted?
No, there's a third item, the west wall. We would prefer that be brick. We're just concerned about the, the visibility there, particularly should that other yard, which is separate owner, change configuration.
Questions for this witness?
Thank you.
Okay, commissioners, that concludes testimony in this matter. There a motion? Commissioner Coney?
Oh, sorry. I move that the Preservation Board override the director's denial and grant preliminary approval to this project with the stipulation that clay coping tiles be placed on the, it's not quite a parapet wall, but the front wall of this structure. And the brick. What does the neighborhood want? All brick on that side?
West, right?
Yeah, because you will see, I mean, if we just approved a project that you gotta have brick showing between, that's a long distance between buildings. But let's say that brick needs to be placed on that west wall, the entire west wall, and it can stop at a certain level as that's a crazy motion. Let me get it under control.
So. Do you want a poll for the denial?
No, I'd like to get them building. I override the director's denial and grant preliminary approval with the stipulation that the west wall be brick and that coping tiles be added above the front wall. Second. With details and materials to be worked out with staff. Second again.
Okay,
Hold a second.
I have a question.
Hold on one second. Okay,
Okay, if you make this west wall, which I see is improperly labeled. Yeah, and it's brick here instead of siding, it still would not go all the way to the ground, can you do that?
No, I can clarify, that would require, if you're gonna do a foundation along there, they do a full brick wall there.
Okay, so that is, I agree, but that is gonna be a significant change to their plan, correct? Just clarifying for my own understanding.
Yeah, I hate to add that cost, but I also hate to see siding out there on the street.
Make sure I'm getting it.
I do believe you're.
Can I make a suggestion? If it's possible, can I make a suggestion? Because one of the things, a part of the reason I'm wanting to do this, and we'll go ahead and add this in if this.
Ma'am, sorry. Sorry, just hold on a second, okay?
Okay.
Sorry, they're trying to deliberate, so they'll reach back out to you that questions. I know what you're getting at. There's your patience. Thank you very much.
I think unfortunately you're in Stuart and that is part of the sort of, idea. It's brick. There's carriage houses. Yeah, cool, but it needs brick. If that's what you want to build, you have to follow it. Because I think they're bending as a district already to allow an alleyway off of the street. It's understanding that this house is on an alley, so I think we're giving enough, we're needing them at least to understand that situation, but I think we have to hold a little bit. My personal thoughts.
To keep it as clear. So, you mind if we just have an open discussion now? So, what about a compromise if we put the brick in the way they got it, Bob, and then the rest of it is cement board siding painted brick red? Is that allowed in that district or?
I mean,
This is good.
yeah, that's the thing, like, there's some gray areas here that we're trying to, you know. The code says based on model example. Right, so, and that's what we're getting at, it's like, it's one of those things where that's the only direction you're given. So you have to figure out if that's a compromise you want to make to approve something. I get what you're getting at, it's the field of color versus material, right, that's what you're kind of getting at. So that's up to you, that's why it's here, it's like, that's the deviation is. The design as a whole, what is visible is not based on the model exam. So that's the direction I can give you.
My thought on this was, we did not have a preliminary review of this. Had it come to preliminary review, we could have made all these suggestions. And Bob would most likely have been able to approve it. I don't know if we can backfill a preliminary review.
Yeah, you're suggesting we give them,
I suggest we
Deny and let them-
uphold the denial, and we've given them a very good idea of what we would approve. They draw it and come back. Okay.
I remove my motion.
Tony has to agree.
I remove my second.
Was. Okay, have you got a motion then, Mike?
Move the preservation board uphold the director's denial as the project is not in compliance with the Seward Historic District standards.
Second.
Bob, were you asking if they have an idea of what we would approve now?
Yeah, I'm good, okay, Laura, what'd you say, you're gonna start talking, I apologize, go ahead, what are you gonna say? You're gonna add something, go for it.
Sorry, was this for me?
Yeah, that's for you.
My next thing, I do not want to do siding. I mean, if that's what you want as a full side of siding, then I don't think you actually meet with the historic society. I mean, I walk around and see things that in just my opinion don't fit in the community. One of them up the street from me, you've got a all brick home that's painted green and red with a blue siding, the entire blue siding garage. So my next, and this is eventually what I would like to do, and if you want us to draw it in now, we can. I want to go brick down. So my thing would be to you is then could we do, if I close it off, can I close it off doing decorative shutter doors? So I don't know if you've been to the South. I'm actually in Savannah right now, but they do these really decorative shutter doors in the historic district that gives that historic feel of a community. And when I say shutter, so it would close it, so I can still close the doors as you would desire. So it would have the brick down that you would see as you're driving down the road. You would see the brick top, and then I have doors that go across that would close that in for you. And we will make those black. You know, we will do what fits the design of the house, keeping with the carriage style look.
But isn't that what you and Jim Morris talked about? That bring Jim Morris's name in.
We'll look forward to your working with Bob on your next presentation. Commissioners, we have a motion on the floor that's been made and seconded. Would you call the roll, Bob?
Mike Colleen,
Yes.
Anthony Robinson,
Yes.
Kevin Hamaker,
Yes.
Stanley Fowler,
Yes.
Ruth Kenoy, Alderman Ryan,
Yes.
Rick Gallo.
Yes. Okay, the motion carries. Bob, you want to make arrangements with them for discussion?
They will, applicants, we'll reach back out to you tomorrow in discussion, okay?
We're gonna take a real quick break, and then we'll come back and do national register nominations and begin our discussion on our rules.
5-minute break to those in the room.
Then you're only having footings instead of a full foundation.
Commissioners, we are back in
Back.
order. Everybody back on there?
Okay, so in the room or back in session.
Okay. Commissioner Hammaker. Have you got a question regarding agenda items C and D?
I have one regarding C.
Okay.
I move that the Preservation Board direct staff to prepare a report for the State Historic Preservation Office that properties meet the requirements of the National Register criteria C for architecture.
Do a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Second.
Stand.
Houston.
Previous roll? Yeah. By previous roll. Agenda item D. Bob?
Do we get the item?
I just have a question for
Sure,
staff.
prepare us, sir.
Oh, I'm
Sorry.
What was your question?
We need to introduce them.
This is the Northampton Commercial Historic District. And Catherine, did you say you had a question?
Well, we just voted on this one, so I don't think we need this presentation, do we?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. This is one that was voted on in December and it was sent on, it was recommended. However, when they sent it to the National Park Service, they decided they wanted it to be a separate historic district instead of an extension to an existing historic district. So it was part of the Kings Highway Hills district, which is north of that. As you can see, and now the National Park Service wanted them to do it as a separate district.
Commissioner Hammaker, got a motion?
Yeah. I move that the Preservation Board direct staff to prepare the report for the State Historic Preservation Office that the properties meet the requirements of the National Register criteria C for architecture. The same. Yes.
Second. Any discussion? Previous roll? Previous roll.
I can make the motion again. In stuff.
Director's report.
Everybody, that is this fancy director board. A couple of things before we start talking about the policy procedures. Hold on.
The motion, I just made two motions about the same item. So we
Yes.
never got to the second item.
We never hit the T.
We never got to D. That's why everyone down here is confused.
The thing you did see, you thought the first one was four C.
But there's a lot of you see twice.
Because I made the
D.
motion on C and then she went up there and told us something else about C. So I made the motion.
That was
again.
D.
You asked, no, what the slides she just had up were about D, C. See the Southampton, Northampton, whatever.
Oh, better swap back and forth. I see what you're saying.
So it's probably,
So,
Okay.
do you wanna make one for D?
Sure, yes.
That's like you're saying.
D, item D, the Preservation Board should direct staff to prepare a report for the State Historic Preservation Office that the proposed district meets the national requirements of the National Register criteria A.
Second. Is there any discussion?
I just want to know if the planning process that's happening right now in the bill has anything to say about this. If, to my knowledge, PDA likes the plans to indicate that
I can give you some
historic
insight.
district of this scale be called for, so just wondering if that's not done yet.
Gotcha.
How it fits in here.
I could tell you, and I'm not sure who's left in the room, Katie, Gravy, if you're still in the room. I do know that as they're doing these various board and area plan efforts, preservation is always a key part of that. And trying to get incentives to those areas is always one of those keys for the preservation side. So getting as much listed as possible is really a key to get access to the historical tax credits. And all those plan areas, this is always one of the priorities, get things listed, get folks access to the historic credits. So I can speak on that much.
Great.
If you want to have any other, Katie Gravy's there, if she has any more input on it. But I can tell you that much.
Okay, thank you.
I think there's a motion on the floor. for
There is.
agenda item D. We've been seconded. We've had our discussion in the previous roll. Any objections? Previous roll. Agenda item director's report.
Really quick before we dive into the policy and procedure discussion, two things I want to put out there for you. The Missouri State Historic Preservation Office is conducting a training for all certified local governments on Friday, October 24th in Jefferson City. I'm going to attend, and it's open to anyone who serves on a CLG commission or who's a staffer. If you want to go, the chance to be reimbursed for it. It's $25. That's to cover food. Then also mileage might be covered if you wish to go. If you want to go, let me know and I can look at and see if we can get covered for like your mileage and stuff like that. But it's from 9 to 5 all day on a Friday in Jefferson City, which is beautiful. And so if you want to go, I'm going to attend. I cannot carpool with you guys that day if you want to go with me, but let me know.
How far is Jefferson City?
Too far. It's 215 miles.
I'd have to stop halfway. My electric car will only go 107 miles.
Your car's flat, only goes to Smith. Yeah, me too. So there's that. You wanna go? Let me know. Reach out to me, Mr. Glean.
Why would you carpool?
Well, there's a couple reasons why. No, right? No.
Okay.
No, I'm having dinner with friends that evening in Jefferson City.
Sure.
And second, next month, if you would have your calendars with you, so we can, map out November and December for the board meetings. For Ruth's sake, we usually try and move the meeting up a week to avoid the holiday weeks. Because our board they travel the world. So generally they're not around that week. So yeah, just, have your calendars ready for that meeting. Got it. Thank you much. And that's it for now.
Okay. Will you turn over this discussion to Olivia?
I now turn over this discussion to our attorney, Olivia Finn.
Thanks. So we have before us, again, a draft preservation board. I understand we not have all members present, right? However, I would recommend that we get as far in our discussion as we possibly can, and if at all possible, to adopt rules, so that we can stay in compliance with the new ordinance, which requires adoption of rules by the end of October. There is not an enforcement mechanism in the new ordinance that I know of that doesn't state what happens if we not.
If we don't have the rules, we follow the rules.
No food at future meetings.
Oh, that'd be sad.
So what? Can you just?
Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you were saying something.
Well, then we might have to go back to.
Can you walk us through anything of note?
Yes, I struggle to open it up now. Is there any place in particular you would like to start? Walk through where there have been changes. I sent an email earlier this afternoon where there had been some additional suggestions and highlight points that I received from members of the board. Any thoughts from?
What was the removal of having a state extension being removed?
Could you say that? I'm sorry, I can't.
It's like, Article 5(9)(a). Suggestion to remove option to abstain during voting. And understand the,
My thought there was that commissioner should vote yes or no.
I don't agree.
That's why we're discussing.
Yeah. I think there should be an option for you to abstain.
Whoops. I'm not calling you a word. I'm offering an adjective.
The list of edits you sent out this afternoon, Olivia, just to clarify, are not reflected in this. These are like other things that people brought up.
Correct.
Okay, just making sure.
Oh, perfect. Then I should vote that.
I guess, do we want to walk through that list or however you would like the structure, and I'm happy to do so.
Okay. Questions?
Well, I suppose I'll just then walk through the list of suggestions and highlight points that I've received that are not reflected in this version of the draft. Received a request to discuss Article 3, Section 1, which discusses how officers of the board shall be elected. So I just like to highlight for the board that the code prescribes that the chair is elected by the board each year, and that a vice chair is also elected by the board each year. And open it up for if there are discussions or questions about that section. Moving on to Article 3, Section 3, that is on page 3. There was
I'm sorry, back on Article 3, number 2, on page 3.
Yes.
Do we have, who's our secretary now?
Jay,
Jade is secretary.
Okay.
Okay. Article 3, Section 3, there was a suggestion to remove Section 3 from this list, or from this draft of rules. What this section does is allow the board to adopt and create new officer positions other than chair, vice chair, and secretary. To my knowledge, this board has never had other positions. It's not called for in the code. So we open that up for discussion.
I'm always in favor of fewer words.
Agree.
Great. So it sounds like in favor, the board would like to remove Article 3, Section 3.
Can you give it to another board or commission? So it's not wasted.
They'll have their own. Moving on down my list, then we have Article 5, Section 3. And subsection A. So this section is about the procedure of meetings and setting forth how discussion of an item that is up for consideration by the board will be held. In subsection A, it currently states that the chair recognizes members wishing to speak and then provides that no member may speak a second time unless every member has had the opportunity to do so. There's a suggestion to remove that second line.
We just watched some discussion today, which Stan and Mike had a good discussion. Speaking a second time, a third time, fourth time, a fifth time, sixth time.
You stopped.
Which was fine. It got us to where we needed to be. I don't know.
But you have the,
I
you
know
have the
we need
piece,
that.
you have the piece that says like, item before each wishing to speak. You guys don't wish to speak, me and Mike can talk all day.
we do wish to speak.
You know, we could make that a rule. Couldn't we?
I'm fine getting rid of it. I don't. Sure.
I think it's there so somebody doesn't just monopolize the discussion, obviously. Kind of ramps up.
That would only be Anthony.
Yeah, but if the chair is doing her job, right?
And.
Control.
Yeah. I got that.
Yeah, that's what the gavel. The gavel.
Great. So if we remove that line, it would still preserve, the chair would still have the ability to recognize which members would speak. Great. But it just, would take away that specific.
Fewer words.
Great. I will remove that line. Moving on into Article 5, Section 7. It's on the following page. What this section does is allows for motions that can be made and do not need debate. There's a suggestion that some items perhaps we would want to vote. So, for example, a motion for previous question has the effect of ending debate on an item, else a vote. Perhaps that is an item which the board feels that they would like to be able to debate before just moving straight to a vote, or they're like an alternate procedure. Open for discussion.
Other legislators have a higher standard for review. I wonder if we should also, not that I've ever seen anybody move the previous question. Yeah. Or maybe that could be two-thirds approval to move the previous question before the vote got on debate. That would preserve the rights of people who have dissenting minority opinions. Still be able to express them. I don't feel strong. The rest of the motions seem fine for sure.
Or read it, or you say it's I don't know. She won't have long much.
We're not as strong as we need to.
Nope.
Leave it.
Right. Next one.
Article 5, Section 9, this is already briefly discussed. And there's a suggestion to remove the option to vote abstain rather than vote aye or nay. My opinion would be an abstention is an important option. If, for example, a commissioner walks into the meeting late and is not recused, but feels they cannot.
Commissioner walks into a bar.
Yes, the commissioner walks to a bar or a board meeting, late and feel they're not able to take a vote, so they want to abstain on that matter, which would be one example where.
That is a very good point. My thought was that the person who has used abstains the most was me.
True.
Although my Tiffany's no longer here.
Say you recuse yourself of something, but you're still in the room, like earlier. That vote would just be, like recused or abstained.
That would be,
So.
that would not be registered as a vote.
Okay, making sure.
That would be different than, this
It goes.
is voting. When you are present, you are able to vote on a matter, so you're not
Just
recused
publicly
yourself.
abstain,
Vote
but
aye.
abstain.
I think you keep it in, there's no reason to.
What was that?
She said, we wanted to write in a rule that would publicly shame me for abstaining too much.
That's our way around it. So I say keep it in and we'll just harass.
Cool enough.
Remove it.
You always change the rules later. Like,
That is true. It is possible to change the rules down the road.
Is there a rule that says we can change the rules?
There is actually a rule that says we can change the rules
Excellent.
at the very end of these rules. The other item I had listed was there been a suggestion to include some references to other motions that are possible to make, such as making a motion for a order or a motion to appeal the ruling of the chair.
Sure.
Thoughts, questions?
Can I move to adopt the rules as amended?
I don't want to do it until David gets here.
Oh, God.
I don't want to put it into the next 3 years. and saying, if he had a chance,
So we told him he had 3 meetings.
in an emergency.
Provide comments.
He did provide comments, right?
But he was working with, but Olivia did reach out to him at, like, off time, and did he get back to you?
I have not received.
What if,
We have it on record if we get it publicly shamed for not having rules on time. It's David Richardson's fault.
yes,
That's all I need.
we could, want to have a virtual meeting in day, a week?
Well, timing wise, I mean, here's what's going on. So
Sure.
if we're looking about timing, because the next meeting of planning commission meets, when it stands, it's like the 13th or 14th.
Yeah, it's up there.
So in theory, the whole point was to have this wrapped up so they could then vote on what you approved, because they have to 13th. That was theory,
Great.
I only care about one member of the planning commission.
Actually,
obviously.
the
Let's
eighth,
say, okay, well, can we have a virtual meeting just for this one issue between now and then to get this settled and passed so that they can do that?
We can call a virtual meeting that's allowed as long as we're able to post notice publicly at least 24 hours in advance and depending on staff availability and obviously board availability of getting a forum.
I mean, we're doing it virtually only. It's gotta be open to the public though.
Great. Let's do it.
Anything else for the good of the order today? Wait, when you finished?
That was the list of items that were not currently reflected in this version. You have a question there.
Mr. Clean, that's your third fridge.
Okay, Commissioner, Article 6. Okay. Under Code of Conduct A. Would you look closely at any organization which employs or is considered employing, considering employment of a member? I don't know what considering employment of a member actually. It's
It's on
Article
page
6.
11 in the copy that's before you.
That doesn't tell me that's mostly. You want to make it more precise as to what considering employment is? You know, accidentally run foul of the book of the stated. I like to think when anybody wants to build anything, they automatically.
In theory, everyone's goal is considered.
My thought would be this is, for considering employment of a member. An organization. My brain is fried, I apologize. If you have, for example, an application pending, if you are aware of an organization that is considering hiring you, there's also built into the rules. In the next section, if you are, and a member is not certain of whether or not the circumstances present a conflict of interest, there is a whole procedure which you can bring the matter before the board can decide if it is a conflict. So I think to the extent that, you know, that is ambiguous or overly broad, there is a way to figure out whether or not your particular situation on a particular matter actually qualifies as conflict of interest.
Tony and Mike, are you comfortable?
Yeah.
Tony?
Yeah.
Ruth? Comfortable? Did we define confidential information?
I have not included a definition of confidential information. That is another one where I feel I don't want to limit what may possibly be confidential information. I'd rather there's not. Often, there are not many situations in which information board is going to be presented with confidential information. Most of the information presented to the board is going to be subject to open records requirements and public meeting requirements. In those cases that it's not, it would be a very specific closure or a unusual circumstance.
And could it say, as you just explained, access to information that is not subject to public? Like what was you said?
Could you point me to specifically where you're looking?
Yes. Article 6. Number 8.
Are you requesting within that paragraph some sort of description of confidential information, such as information shielded from public record requirements and open records law?
As part of the member's position, he or she may have access to information that is shielded from information requests. Can't mention that the litigation.
Yeah.
Like, anybody else have changes they want into a draft where we have virtual meeting? Will probably be Richardson changes. You know that there'll be Richardson changes.
It's gonna get thicker.
Okay, anything else for the good of the order? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, do it by previous roll. You are exempt. Congratulations to Olivia. You got us 96% of the way